Okay, welcome to part 2 of note-taking, and welcome to advisory. Okay, we're going to paint a picture of how not to take notes during this lesson. This is what linear notes are. This is what I used to do. Okay, so linear notes are when you write down everything you've heard or read, okay? And exactly the order you receive the information is your system of notes for remembering important information. So there's many great alternatives to linear notes that will help you identify connections and prepare for your exams, okay? This is not it. Okay? So don't do this. Don't be like me when I was your age. Okay? These are linear notes. Okay, so Cornell notes are a way of organizing things in a way where we can just look at the keywords and ideas, and then here have a list of things that you might want to take note of when you're taking notes. So here they basically divide the paper into different sections, right? So you see there's a line at the bottom, and this will be the summary of notes in your own words. And then you have that line down the middle or to the left, which is the main idea, question. And then you have the keywords, important dates, repeated info that maybe your teacher said a couple times and you're like, this might be important. This might be why they're repeating it a bunch of times. Okay. Ideas, brainstorming written on the board, anything that your teacher feels is something worth noting. Info from any textbook stories. You have diagrams, formulas. That's the kind of idea here. And you break it up in those 3 sections to make it easier to go over when you do. So this was developed at Cornell University, and it's been used in high schools and colleges across America. So if you're not already in the habit of taking notes, this is a good way to practice and getting into that habit for when you get further in high school, but then also if you decide to go to college, that is something that you're really going to need because you're going to be listening to teachers all day. And it's usually a different format, right? In college, it's typically a lecture where you're sitting and you're just listening to the professor. So it's essential that you know and have a good system down. So if your teacher says something like, here are like 5 key things for your next exam, that should be something that you're going to want to take note of. You could write next exam in the big ideas questions, okay? And then list like the 5 things that they note, right? So we will discuss this note-taking technique in the next lesson. But here's just like a brief overview of what it looks like, okay? So we're going to watch this video.
The average student takes notes at a rate of 1/3 of a word per second. The average teacher speaks about 2 to 3 words per second. Bottom line, if you're trying to copy down everything your teacher is saying while he drones on about Shakespeare, you're going to fall seriously behind. Note-taking is an important skill in and out of school. It can make the difference between passing and failing a test, excelling at a job, or even enjoying a complicated movie. And most of us don't do it well. Welcome to Wellcast. We took a viewer suggestion for this week's episode, the art of note-taking. We're going to give you a 3-step method for taking notes that will actually help you learn. Numerous studies over the years have proven what's already pretty obvious. People who take notes remember the material better than those who don't. But how much better? A 1970 study by developmental psychologist Michael Howe found that students were 7 times more likely to remember facts 1 week after hearing them if they took notes. But here's the thing. Most people don't know how to take notes. We're taught from a very young age that when a teacher starts delivering a load of information, for example, Shakespeare described Romeo and Juliet's love as star-crossed, that we should start writing down as much of what they're saying as possible. Phew! Well, this is an incredibly inefficient way to take notes. Why? You're not actually learning anything. You're simply acting as a human audio recorder. A recorder, by the way, that only picks up 1 out of every 10 words. And you're saving the learning for later, when you'll have an even less complete lesson plan to look over. Note-taking should actually act as a form of learning. Something that helps you work your way through the lesson as the teacher is giving it, so that when you leave the classroom, you already understand the concepts. So how do you do that? We have a 3-step method for taking the kind of notes that force you to learn the material inside the classroom and not out. Step 1, don't write down facts. Write down about capturing every single thing your teacher is saying. Spend more time listening, trying to understand the lecture. When you do start writing, format your notes as a series of questions posed by the teacher's lecture and fill in your own answers. For example, question: what is the central theme in Romeo and Juliet? Conclusion: more than being a tragic love story, Romeo and Juliet is about the consequences of deeply held emotions. This way, you're recording the importance of what the teacher is saying and not just raw facts. When you do need to include data, add only the most important points under each question. This is the evidence for each question answer. Step 2. Use colored pen. Yeah, that's right. This will help you remember your notes visually. Also, if you establish a set template for your notes, you'll be able to take them more efficiently. Write questions in red, definitions in blue, conclusions in green. Step 3. Review your notes. Don't relearn them. Spend at least 10 minutes organizing your notes after class. If you want to test your comprehension, try teaching the material to a classmate. This will be a great marker to see if you've actually learned anything. Note-taking is a valuable life skill that doesn't lose its utility when you graduate. Find ways to integrate note-taking in your daily life. You'll soon find yourself in the exclusive and creative group of people who bring out their moleskins at lectures, movies, and TED. All right, Will Captain, let's recap. Today we learned how to take notes in a way that ensures you learn the material during class time and not after. First, write down your conclusions instead of a barrage of facts. Second, use your questions to make connections. And third, spend 10 minutes going over these notes at the end of class. And if you should choose, try going over these notes by teaching them to a classmate or a friend. Hey, who was that lady? Okay. Do these tips help?
So after watching this video, what are some ways that you can improve your note-taking skills? And if you don't currently take notes, what can you start to do to make this a habit? So this is something I want you to think about. Maybe jot it down in your journal. If the teacher wants you to discuss with the person next to you, that's a great way to kind of talk through what's working for you, if anything. So take a minute, reflect on this question. What are some ways that you can improve your note-taking skills? If you don't already take notes, what can you start to do to make this a habit of yours? Thanks, guys. Have a great day.